Hello, good morning, everyone.
Hello, good morning.
Hello,
Good morning.
good morning, everyone. Welcome to our
Thank you.
webinar, monthly webinar. Thank you
Thank
so
you as well.
much. Thank you so much for attending. And if you can help us, please use the chat. Okay, so you can let us know where are you attending from. I know that to our webinars, we have teachers from all over the Ecuador and from another countries as well. So please let us know where are you attending from, and so we can see and we can read in the chat box. The same thing during all the webinar. Please help us in the chat if you have any questions, any suggestions for the presenters. You can help us as well answer asking the questions. Um, Martita and me we will be reading. So Martita Gonzalez, she's the secretary of ECUATESOL. So welcome and thank you so much. And me and her, we will be reading the chat, and if we have any questions for the presenters or if you have any further questions, we will be more than happy to answer. The same thing, we have received questions about the certificates of the webinars, and I would like to clarify that this is a series of webinar. So if you attend more than the 80% of the webinars, you will receive a certificate for 40 hours. That's the time for the webinar sessions that we are doing. No? So until June, we will have all the list of participants and attendees from the webinars, and we will submit the certificate. So please be aware of that. And at the end of the webinar, we always share the link of the registration of your attendance. So please make sure that you register your attendance in the link so you can have your attendance complete. Okay? Mm, I don't want to take more time because I know that the workshop, the webinar that we have today is incredible. We have two amazing presenters. Just before that, to mention that this is an effort of ECUATESOL, the Teachers Association of Ecuador, plus Yacha Tech University, TESOL International, and Universidad Nacional de Educación. All right, so I would like to present the two presenters that we have today. The topic of today is gamification, creating interactive language learning experiences. And I have the honor to present or to read the bio of the two presenters that we have today. The first presenter is Andrea. Andrea Robayo Nugra is a dedicated educator specializing in English language teaching with over 7 years of experience across various levels of education. A graduate in English language and literature from the Universidad de Cuenca, she holds a master's in pedagogy of national and foreign languages with a focus on English instructions from Universidad Casagrande. Andrea has contributed to programs sponsored by the U.S. Embassy and currently works as instructor at the Universidad Nacional de Educación, UNAE. Her expertise includes innovative teaching strategies, curriculum development, and fostering engaging learning environments. So thank you so much, Andrea. More than welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And the same thing, I would like to introduce a friend of mine, Verónica Herrera Caldas. She is an experienced EFL educator and researcher with a long, strong background in English teaching, educational technology, and teacher training. She holds multiple master's degrees and is currently pursuing a PhD in communication, education, and humanities. As a faculty member at Universidad Nacional de Educación, UNAE, she has led and participated in research and innovation projects, published academic articles, and supervised undergraduate and graduate thesis. Her work focuses on digital competencies, active learning, and sustainable language education. And I have the honor that I worked with Berito in the Universidad Nacional de Educación. She is an amazing teacher. She was my tutor there, and we worked together in a lot of projects. So I know that this presentation will be amazing. Please take advantage of all the knowledge that these two presenters has, Berito and Andrea. Welcome to this presentation. And I repeat again, if you have any questions, please use the chat box. You can send any questions or if you have any suggestions. So welcome everyone, and the room is all yours, Berito and Andrea. Welcome again.
Thank you very much, Danielle. Hello, everybody. Good morning. It's very nice to be here, to have this wonderful group of English teachers join today to learn about games, gamification, game-based learning, serious games. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. So first, let me share my screen. There we go. Can you confirm if you can see it well? Great, beautiful. So this morning, Vero and I will have 3 clear objectives for our workshop, which is first understand some key concepts that are usually mentioned around games and gamification, clarify certain terms as well. We're going to explore board games and card games. Those are going to be 2 categories that we've decided to explore this morning with you. And absolutely share ideas for EFL games. Thank you to ECUATESOL, because these are beautiful spaces for that, exactly, for sharing, for telling what are some of the things that we're doing in classes that I'm pretty sure will help us all. So, Berito?
Yeah. Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Danielle, for those kind words. And yes, we are very excited to have you today in this session. I'm going to go over what we have planned. We're going to start off with a warm-up to get into the mindset of game-based learning. Then we'll dive into core concepts on gamification, game-based learning, and serious games. After that, we'll have hands-on examples of how to use board games and a deck of cards in your classroom. We'll then have an opportunity to share our ideas and experiences with games, and we'll have a final wrap-up where we'll reflect on what we've learned and how we can apply it in our classroom.
So first, we're going to start with some discussion, and we're going to create some breakout rooms to get started. These are the 2 questions we propose you to focus on. What type of games have you used in your classes? And what challenges have you faced when doing these games in your classes? So I'm gonna create right now. Oh, maybe I don't know if Danielle, do I have co-host access, or could you help us with that?
Sure, Andrea, you have the co-host access, so you can create a breakout room.
Perfect. Let me see. Oh, thank you very much. I can see it now. Beautiful. Let's have then some breakout rooms. And I will also project this question on the breakout rooms. Get for about 5 minutes. Vero, are we okay with 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, all right? Here we go. There we go. Everybody's joining. If you're experiencing any issue, please, you can let us know. Let me find Sylvia. Oh no, I didn't realize. It's set for only a couple of minutes.
We are five people here and we have to answer the question, what type of games have you used in your classes? And what challenges have you faced? So let's ask the question, ladies first. So let's see, Miss Teresa, can you answer the question, what type of games have you used in your classes? Miss
Hello,
Teresa,
hello. I answer in the chat box.
okay, you have used
Bingo and
bingo.
memory cards.
All right, me too. Yes, I have used bingo too. They like it because here they are used to play bingo, so it's something that reminds them their native language. Oh, the time is going to end. Sorry, ladies. Sorry, everyone. We have to go back.
Okay. See you.
See you.
There we go. I think everybody is back. All right. So we would like to hear from you. Roberto and I will be listening, making some comments on what you say. What type of games have you used in classes? Daniel, please, welcome.
Good morning to everyone. I was talking with a teacher. She was teaching in a public institution, and she mentioned that she uses games, and she has to prepare like papers, copies, photocopies, and stuff. And one of the biggest challenge with that is that she doesn't have access to technology, internet, because the public system doesn't provide everything. So she was mentioning that, and I assume that she didn't mention, but I assume that she spends a long time planning everything and preparing everything just for a game and stuff like that.
Thank you very much. And absolutely, right now we live in a world where technology is right there, but that doesn't mean that we can always use it and that it's accessible for our classes. Thank you for sharing, Danielle. Definitely, sometimes games might be time consuming when planning them. Today, I hope that after the workshop, you get to see all the materials we've prepared and you will use them in your classes so that the time load and the workload is not that high. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Tell us, what did you discuss in your groups? Any other type of games?
Well, I would like to talk about the challenges we faced with large classes, mainly in public schools, for example. We really need to set clear rules before playing any game. And as Danielle mentioned, it's time consuming. But the problem sometimes is that there are too many students, not just 20 or 25, but 40 or 50. So that's the challenge that we always have, how to control students when playing a game. So that's one of the challenges that we are going to face all the time.
True. Definitely, Carmen. Thank you so much. The number of students is something that might be a challenge to consider when we play games, especially because we tend to get noisy, right? It depends on the game, but we tend to get noisy, and the number of students is definitely a room management that we need to consider. I would like to focus on what you also said, Carmen. Clear instructions, right? When we set clear objectives and instructions. And I think it's a matter also of being constant. When we apply constantly, our students get trained on certain things like how to do the games, how to behave, like follow the rules. Thank you very much. Better, I don't know if you have any comment.
No, I think the challenges that were mentioned are very important, and hopefully by the end of the workshop, we will have answered your concerns. We will have examples on no tech or offline games for you to use.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Excellent. So let's move on to the next part.
Yeah. Okay, so before we dive into games in our classroom and how we're going to use them, let's start with the big question. What actually makes something a game? So according to Shell's 2008, games have features in common. A game will have a goal, so everybody knows that they have to achieve something. It will have rules, which gives the game structure and limits, which also makes it fun. It involves choice and strategies. Players think and decide on how to proceed to move forward in the board or in the game. It gives feedback as players. We always know if we're doing it correctly or we have to change our strategy. It requires thinking and interaction. In games, there are no passive participations. And most important of all, games are always fun. So if we keep these elements in mind when we're creating activities or designing games, we're not just using games, we're actually creating a real learning experience for our students. Okay, so now that we've covered what a game is, let's start with understanding game-based learning, or GBL. So this approach is all about having students learn through the game itself. In other words, the content that we want to teach the students, it becomes or is built in to the game mechanisms. For example, think of a board game, a vocabulary board game, where the students have to use new words in the context to advance in the board game. They don't have to memorize vocabulary. They're actually using it in a natural way as part of the game. So when we use game-based learning, we're not just making the class fun. We're embedding the learning objectives into the play. Now, why are games important, especially in the language classroom? Why are they such powerful tools? So we're going to look here at some benefits. The first one is that it boosts motivation. Games naturally make students eager to participate, even the ones that might be shy or less confident in English. They want to participate. They don't even realize sometimes that they're actually learning and practicing the language because it's very motivational. Games also encourage teamwork and creativity. Many of the games require collaboration, and students often have to come up with creative solutions to win the task. Game-based learning also provides natural context where students can use the language, for example, in role plays and simulations. They use the language in a meaningful way. And one of the biggest benefits of game-based learning and games in general is that it's a it creates a safe failure environment. Students can try the language, take risks, they can fail, they can try again, and they learn with a low pressure environment. And finally, it also enhances student-centered learning. During the game, instead of us teachers leading every moment, students become they take ownership of their learning through the game. So besides all the benefits, we also have some challenges, and the challenges, they can be, yeah. So there are challenges when we use game-based learning, but they're not deal breakers. We can still kind of work around it if we use the proper strategy. So the first one is how time-consuming sometimes planning or creating a game can be. We don't have to start from scratch. Every time we use a game. We can use templates that are already available. We can use AI, which is very useful assistant now to create games. We can involve students in the creation of games or talk to colleagues to co-create games. The important thing is to start small and build over time the games that we're going to use. The next challenge is that sometimes it's off task. So students may get overexcited, they lose sight of the objective, they're just involved in, I want to win, I want to win. So the important thing here is to set clear instructions. We can define goals within the students' groups, and we can even pause every once in a while during the game to reflect on the learning, so students don't lose the goal, which is the learning. It could be difficult to align some games with the curriculum. So instead of forcing the game to fit, we can start with
Hello again. Apologies. I don't know what happened. I think it was my computer. I'm sorry, Vera. Let me share again. Okay.
Okay. I think I left off on tech access issues. So yeah, that's a very important challenge. Not every classroom has equal access to technology. That's why that's why there's always options that are offline. And some of them we're going to show you today with board games and a deck of cards that you can use in your classroom. And the last challenge is that we identified was classroom management. Games tend to get loud and sometimes messy if there's no structure. So if we set timers, if we set rules, if we give students roles like timekeeper, rule checker, from the very start, this can help us manage the classroom better. We can also pause again to regroup if we need, pause to reflect on the learning. That can also help during the game. So something that's important to remember is that while we have challenges, none of them are deal breakers. If we use the right approach, we can turn these challenges into opportunities for more learning for the students. And here I wanted to share some examples that you can do either online or offline. The first one is the literally escape room. So I've used this with the students after they read a book or they read a bunch of short stories. I create some clues that they have to solve based on the reading in order to escape the room. The clues can be match the quote with the character or questions about the plot or the character or what happens. That is very engaging for the students. It's just a way to transform a normal worksheet of reading comprehension and make it into an escape room that students feel motivated to answer. The next example is mission Save the Planet. So sustainability and the environment is very important right now, and students are also involved in this topic. So here what I do is students are secret agents and they have an environmental issue they can solve. And normally what I do with the environmental issue is place it within the university on campus. So they identify issues that the students or the teachers are creating on campus and they propose solutions. So for example, here at UNAYA, what they've identified is teachers, we use 80 markers. During the school year, we use 80 markers. That's a lot of plastic. Or we don't have in the bathroom the machines that dry your hands. We use paper towels. That's a lot of paper as well. So all of these issues, the water bottles, when the students fill their water bottles in the bathroom, the faucet isn't very high. It's kind of low, so they spill a lot of water. We waste water. All of those issues, the last time I did this activity came up, and they proposed real solutions to these issues. And they even talked to the authorities or to the offices to see what options do we have to improve this. And while they did all of this, they were using language. They were using imperatives, they were using modals and conditionals. And the last example is vocabulary royale. So here, what students do is battle with the vocabulary. I give them a deck of cards with vocabulary words and the definition so they remember. And as they turn over the card, they have to give sentences using the card. If the sentence is correct, the whole group agrees it's correct, then the student can keep the card. The more cards they collect, the more points they have, or else they have to put it back in the deck. Okay, so the next core concept is gamification with Andrea.
Thank you, Daniel. So far, we've explored and talked about games, right? Games in general and what game-based learning looks like with advantages and some examples. But we also want to bring up a term, gamification. Sometimes we use them interchangeably, but they are not actually the same. If you can use the chat, I have my cheat sheet here, but if you can use the chat, can you tell me what could be a difference between what we just listened from Vero with game-based learning and all the beautiful examples you have here on the screen, and what is gamification? Maybe use the chat, or you can also raise your hand. In the meantime, I would like to mention the comment Maura is making. I truly believe that dynamic activities are essential for effective language learning, definitely. So anyone, let's see. Let's use the chat or open your microphone. What's the difference between this games with listened, and also gamification? Carlos says gamification are activities for fun. Thank you. Gamification is a great opportunity to teachers to learn and enjoy at the same time. Interaction activities, active learning, thank you. Learning in a safe and fun environment, very nice concepts. Beautiful. And even though, oops, I'm sorry, is my image going crazy right now?
Yes, I consider that excuse me for my voice because I have flu, but I consider that the gamification is take some activities or is take some games for teaching in our classroom.
Very good. Thank you so much, Maura. Thank you for sharing. A couple of you are saying to activate our brain. I apologize. I just stopped my video because for some reason my video image is going crazy. As one of you said before, technology not always helps, but we can make it. Thank you. So thank you, Maura, for your contribution. I can see also motivational learning. It helps to learn more vocabulary and also other skills. Thank you, Carlos. I know it's definitely going crazy. Hopefully it will get fixed in a moment. Teresa says gamification is receiving rewards and challenges to non-game contexts in order to enhance engagement, motivation, and participation. For example, Duolingo. Who hasn't heard of Duolingo, right? Marcia says working teams and to activate our brains. Beautiful ideas. So, gamification is not per se a game, right? So it's not a game, but it definitely integrates game elements. So as you said, these rewards or badges or the point system into a context where we are not playing a game, we're probably doing something else. And the idea or the objective is to create engagement and motivation. So once again, gamification is not necessarily a game, but it involves integrating the elements of a game, points, rewards, badges, etc., into our classroom. I like to say that when you use the term gamification, I'm going to try to start my video again to see if it works. There you go. When we use gamification, we want to refer to a gamified classroom or a gamified course. So that way, we're not talking about a game anymore, but we're actually talking about a course that includes game elements for other purposes. Now, let me share a couple of advantages when using gamification in our classrooms. It definitely, just as game-based learning, it increases engagement and motivation because we rely on extrinsic motivation when we give our students points or badges, or we create leaderboards to make learning more engaging. This might be something that you are familiar with quizzes or Kahoot. But now think about having a classroom or a course where you use quizzes as in the course, right? Not for a game, but you use the elements of quizzes in your cycle, semester, your level, your academic year. So besides that, it fosters collaboration and social skills. It definitely encourages teamwork, collaboration, and it enhances social interaction among students when they are given these gamified elements in the class. We might not be playing a game, but they have to work together to reach a goal. And that is when collaboration and social skills play a role. It enhances learning retention. When we have gamified elements in our classroom, we allow students to repeat and repeat, to try and fail and do it as many times as possible so that they can repeat material, they can repeat content, they can repeat certain skill preparation they need to have, right? So then gamification encourages understanding of material. I mentioned before that we do rely on extrinsic motivation, but it also might awaken this internal desire for learning when we have gamified elements in the classroom. It also encourages a growth mindset. As teachers, we need to choose wisely how and when to use gamification. What I mean is we can definitely praise our students and reward them, not only because they show you a correct answer, or not only because of the outcomes, but also for the effort and progress. And to reward that does not necessarily mean a grade. You can definitely use gamification. As with game-based learning, gamification might also have certain limitations. And some of the challenges I would like to share are the following. Excuse me, I'm just gonna minimize this. There you go. When we use gamification and we overuse the intrinsic rewards, we might undermine intrinsic motivation. So once again, we need to be careful on when to use these rewards, not to rely a lot and all of the time on giving rewards, because then it might turn into, I'm going to do this activity just because I'm going to get a point, right? Excuse me, I'm going to stop once again my video for a second. There might be some complexity at first with time. It requires time, and I will show you a couple of tools that we can use and incorporate in our classroom. But yes, as everything new, it might be time-consuming at first. So at first, until we adjust, until we know how to use it, until we have set all the ideas and rules and everything, it might be time-consuming for educators. As I said, at first, once we get used to using these game elements, that might happen. But later, believe me, it's just a piece of cake. And you can even rely on other students to help you doing these game elements. Another challenge could be risk of inequality. Those who are less skilled at game elements, meaning receiving rewards, receiving points, may definitely feel demotivated. So we need to observe carefully when we might be opening this space of inequality when applying gamification. There's a potential for distraction, right? Because once again, as I said before, sometimes the students focus on the fact of receiving a point and not actually doing the learning objective. So our job as educators is to try to set the game elements in a way that might not be distracting, but actually our ally and support our learning objectives. Now, let me show you how this looks like, and I would like to share a little bit my experience on how I do a gamified classroom. Remember, not a game, but a gamified course. I want to share with you an app that is called Class Dojo. I don't know if you have heard about it. Maybe give me reactions on Zoom if you've heard about it, or you can also use the chat. Have you heard about Class Dojo? I see some thumbs up. Yes, says Mercedes, very nice. Okay, maybe a couple, another person, David, thank you so much for sharing. So maybe 2, 3 people. No, it's a great tool. Yes, no, but I have listened about it. So I want to share with you what is the idea of Class Dojo. In Class Dojo, first of all, is actually designed for children, right? And because of the images and the some of the characteristics of including parents into this app, you use it for children. But I've tried it with teenagers. It works great. I don't use the parenting characteristic, and I have also used it with university students. And you might be amazed to see how engaging students might feel with this. Sometimes I tell them, this is just for me. It's for me because I want to keep track of points. But then as they get to know the app, they get excited on creating their avatar or just at looking at the points. I want to do something different here for a moment. Let me see if I can. Let me share, give me a second. Let me share with you what it looks like super quickly, and you can, to give you ideas, right? So this is my Class Dojo. When you do the Class Dojo, it already comes with certain ideas. Here I have my last semester student, and some of them characterize a little bit more their avatars. And as you can see, there are numbers there because they have received these points. And last semester, this is what we have, right? They received points because they went to cultural and UNAES events, part of our university, because they were helping others, they were on task, they were participating. Sometimes I saw students who tried so hard, but just didn't get the correct answer, but I gave them a point for persistence. When we played games, like Vero explained, then I had teamwork 1, 2, 3, 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, right? Or working hard. This semester, nonetheless, I'm trying something different. And we're doing, these are, for example, some of my students. You can see there is an egg there because they haven't entered yet to the app. They have to hatch the egg, right? And once they hatch the egg, they can customize their avatar. And we are receiving points this semester for asking questions when they share some autonomous learning activities we are doing, because they are the regulators of the Spanish speaking, because again, persistence, they are sharing material on WhatsApp, right? Teamwork, again, they are break leaders, photographers, etc., etc. So you can customize here in Add Skills, and you can add different things. You have different icons, and then you want to reward your students for something, right? You decide, but also the power of this app is that you can also work with the students and you can receive the recommendations to do it. It needs work, just as in a game, right? In a game, we don't always win. Sometimes we lose, and sometimes we have to repeat again. So for instance, here, I lower points when they are unpunctual, like at least 15 minutes or more. And then you can decide when to do that, right? So this is a very nice system that can help you keep track of points, create some sort of badges. Students can log in and they can see it, and you have control over when and how to give these points, right? Now, let me go back to our presentation. Here we are. There we go. Perfect, right? So Class Dojo. Class Dojo, as you can see, not a game, right? But it helps you include these game elements within your classroom when you are doing something. And you can use Class Dojo from the very beginning, from the very start. Another important aspect of gamification could be also this, including roles or badges in your class. What I mean with this is an idea. Give your students a voice, right? And assign certain responsibilities. And you can reward them with some badges because of that. For instance, in my class, I have a photographer. You also saw in my Class Dojo that I gave some points because they are photographers. Sometimes we don't have activities in class, but because we're doing a lot of things, we don't take pictures or we forget. But then if there is somebody in charge of that, right? And then you also reward somehow with a point or with a badge, that will be great. You want to probably help the students to speak a little bit more English in class, then you have a Mr. Spanish Regulator. You want to include some movement in your class, and you give the role to your student to do, to do these movement breaks in classes, right? So all in all, the idea of this gamification activity is that students can get roles and can get rewards when doing certain things. Here you have some ideas on how to create them. You have Class Dojo as one idea, but you have so many others. You can use Canva to do badges. You can use your own LMS system if you have one, like Moodle, for instance, to create badges. You can get ideas from Pinterest, and Flippity is also another very nice website where you can create leaderboards and you can create like point rewards system. And to give you more examples, stamps, right? Creating or using stamps, it's another way to use gamified elements in your class. For instance, wait, sorry. Excuse me, I'm having tech issues here. There we go. Right? For instance, you can give students stamps because they have been participating, right? So you create a sheet and then they have to collect, I don't know, maybe 15 by the end of a unit, or by the end of, before your midterm exam, or before the final exam, right? Another idea, as the picture you see over there, my students have the role of doing something at home that is not necessarily related to our class and textbook, but it's based on their own interests. So they come and share. Yesterday, I read the newspaper and it was like that. Yesterday, I watched a video in TikTok and it's about this, and then they share. And their objective is to collect at least 3 stamps before our midterm, right? So sometimes we tell our students, you need to do work on your own. You need to do autonomous work, right? But then if you use gamification elements, like some sort of rewards, like stamps, for instance, you motivate your students to do them because they will look for, yes, I have to receive the stamp, right? And then you give them another chance, another motivational tool so that they can do work on their own, for instance. This is another very nice example, the mystery rewards chart. You can get the ideas, you can collaborate with students to get the ideas, and in each sticker you can write a challenge you want them to do as a class. So as you read the examples, you can see that this might not only be an individual work, right? But this can also be a collaborative work. You challenge the whole class, the whole group of the students to do something. You have some ideas there, and I give you here some others that could be more EFL related, let's say. For instance, no Mr. Spanish, which is the toy I use for Spanish. No Mr. Spanish use for 2 classes in a row. If you meet this objective, we will take the sticky note away. 5 people share 2 new idioms they learned, or at least 5 people are reading a book. Everyone can create sentences with 5 new words we learned as a class, right? And then whenever the whole group, because you foster collaboration, the whole group does it, or, you know, they try to work as a team in order to reach these challenges, there is a message behind the paper. So you take the sticky notes away, and then they discover this puzzle or this reward that you as a teacher can give the students, right? So all of these ways or examples are gamified elements. As you could see, are these actually games? Not really, right? These are not games, but these are game elements, points, badges, puzzles, mystery that are embedded into our classroom or course. To grab this part up, I would like to say that in a gamified class, I need to be Greek. What is Greek? Greek stands for wise in choosing, reflective, inclusive, consistent, and clear with goal. We shouldn't use gamified elements all the time. So it's our decision, right? We need to be wise in choosing when to use these elements and not overuse them so that we undermine the inner motivation to learn. Reflective. If something's not working, then change it. Don't be afraid of making changes around, and listen to your students. Be inclusive. Ask them, get their feedback so you know if an idea is working or not, or just ask them for proposals. You will be amazed to see how students have ideas, and then you can negotiate with them all of the time. If you're consistent, doesn't matter the number of students you have, if you're consistent and clear with goals, students will get used to your gamified elements, and they will get used to the way you teach with these things, the way you motivate them, and they will get on board with it, right? But for that, we do need some time at first so we can be consistent. So in other words, Greek, wise in choosing, reflective, inclusive, consistent, and clear with goals. Have you heard about serious games? You can open your mic, you can write in the chat. And you have a cheat image over there too. Let's see. Use the chat or raise your hand. Not yet. Flipgrid, not really. So we have mentioned, right, games. We've defined games, we've defined game-based learning, we've defined gamification now. Serious games, you have, I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure you have heard about them, but here is the definition. They are standalone games that are specifically designed with a purpose that is beyond entertainment, but they are for education, for training, for social awareness. What is the image you see there? As I said before, Duolingo. Correct, Teresa, exactly. So Duolingo, it's a very popular example of what a serious game is. And a serious game basically shares or has this concept. They were used specifically for a learning purpose. The game itself is the learning tool often designed for a specific or professional educational context. In our area, these are some examples I've found. Some of them are not available anymore. For instance, regrettably, American English from the AU's embassy launched this like over 10 years ago. And it was a nice game with trays where they would explore and, you know, like they would have missions and then they had learning objectives for EFL purposes, etc. Minecraft Education is another example of serious games. And we also have other types of games, right? It's not just for EFL, right? But for instance, you can see here Sims. It's a business and hobbies topic that has a game. So students are playing video games or games, computer games most of the time, but with that learning objective in mind. Like that was the design. If you allow me super quickly, I'm going to give you an example of something I found. So it's a little bit more visual on what a serious game looks like. So let's watch.
Are you learning a new language? Who, me? Then you need Influent. Coming soon to both iPhone and iPad. With Influent, the world is your own personal dictionary. Who, me? Just point the device at the desired object, press the button, and voila! Featuring native pronunciations, synonyms with swap functionality, and the freedom to learn at your own pace. And that's not all. Influent is perfect for vocab acquisition and pronunciation. Using spaced repetition technology to pinpoint words you don't yet understand, Influent gradually strengthens vocabulary, all within a virtual memory palace. And prepare for liftoff in Space Bowl. Pilot a remote-controlled spaceship seeking out words and blasting them with your lasers. Choose from over 20 foreign languages, including Japanese, Hasami, Spanish, Ordenador, and German. Der Fußball. And as a special promotion, get French, Fromage, Korean, and Italian, Pomodoro, absolutely free. Influent. Coming October 20th to the App Store.
So I'm not selling anything, but it's just an idea, right? It's just an idea for you to see if we can explore and ask our students to find, they are already playing computer games, they are playing video games. Like if we can suggest some serious games that can help them be immersed in language and also to have a purpose and an objective. So, excuse me, let me present this once again. So that's the idea, right? We have dived into some concepts, right? We know what games are, what game-based learning is, how it differs from gamification, and also serious games. Pero.
Yeah. So whatever game or whatever approach we decide on using, either gamification, game-based learning, or serious games, an important thought to consider that we normally don't think about maybe it's that games can reveal aspects of people's personalities. So games don't only teach, they also reveal. When we use a game in the classroom, we see the student that has natural leader qualities, the one that's super competitive, or the student that thinks 5 steps ahead to win the game, or the student that cracks jokes or supports their teammates when they fail. And all of these aspects that we get to observe are very helpful as teachers because that's information that we can use to better support our students as we see their characters. So always consider that when we use games, it's a space where students can take risks, where they find their voice, they can grow, not just as learners, but as people too. Andrea?
I don't know what happened. Popped my Instagram there. It looks like a virus or something. Oh, I pressed risk. Okay, let me see. here. There we go. Go ahead, Beth.
Okay, good. So I wanted to start off sharing examples with games with a deck of cards because a deck of cards is easy to access. Sometimes we already have it at home. It's low prep, no technology, and it helps us use game-based learning in a classroom. So the first game that I wanted to share, the next slide, thank you, is a vocabulary game. The first one is Burro Nervioso. I'm sure we've all played this in our childhood. It's a lot of fun. So what I normally do is separate the students in groups. So 3 or 4 or 5 students, depending on how many I have. And then they all each get a deck of cards. And we play Burro Nervioso exactly as if we played it in Spanish, but in English. So instead of saying, dos, tres, the students go, ace, 2, 3. And it's for them to practice a vocabulary on how to say the names of the cards. They can also practice numbers. Sometimes if I can modify and not say ace, they can say 1 and count up to 10. And it also helps with students listening because while the one person is going ace, 2, 3, flipping over the cards, the rest of the team members have to listen in order to slap the card that they hear. So it's a very nice game and the students practice vocabulary. The next example or the next activity that I wanted to share is give me an example. So here, students again work in teams for 4 or 5 students. And we can use this, or I use this normally for vocabulary sometimes, or you can use it for grammar tenses. So we have the teams in the classroom. I flip over, I'm the only person with the deck of cards. So I flip over the deck of cards. I flip one card and it's a 3 or a 5. I can assign numbers to Jack, Queen, and King. And I ask them to give me an example. So if we're playing, I flip over the card, let's say it's a 6, and I say, what do people have for lunch in Ecuador? And they have to write 6. If the card was a 6, then they have to write 6 vocabulary words or 6 things that people have for lunch in Ecuador. Or I can use colors, categories, or what is a normal routine that students have at UNAE, and they can practice present simple. So that is give me an example. The number of examples depends on the card that I flipped over. Next, I have a speaking game called Captain Game. Here, this is good for big groups. So we form a circle either outside or in the classroom, and I give a card to each student. And we check who has the highest card. Normally, I already pre-scan the cards, the deck of cards, and I only include like one king. And the person with the king is the one that is the captain. So what the captain has to do is give orders. So this is very useful to practice imperatives. The student gives orders. For example, if I'm the captain, I can say, everybody with the red cards, they have to dance 10-second salsa. So everybody dances and you can see who has red cards. Or everybody that has hearts has to jump on one foot. So the captain gives all the instructions and everybody in the circle has to follow. You can change it instead of captain, it can be the king, the queen of the round. And then again, then after the king, so I move on to who has the queen, and that person would give the next instruction, and we go through the cards. The next game is checking answers. So this is House of Cards. So here, normally what I do is, again, they play in teams. They have 3 or 4 students per team. And I ask them questions, either to review a topic, either about the topic that we just taught in class. I ask them questions. If they got it correct, I give them a card. And the more cards each group gets, they start building their house, the house of cards. So they can build it, they can use their creativity to build it. And it's very entertaining because they want to get more cards and more cards, so their house is biggest. And the last game I wanted to share is a review with suits. So here, the students are in groups and they each have a deck of cards. And I normally allocate 1 suit per grammar structure that I would like them to review. So for example, in spades, I would say if you have spades, you get a card with spades, you have to use or create a sentence in past simple. Clovers can be past continuous, hearts can be present simple, the diamonds can be present continuous. So every time they flip over a card, depending on the suit they have, they create sentences, or they can say rules about the tense. And those are the activities that I wanted to share with the deck of cards.
Okay. Right. So let's dive into some examples with board games. Board games normally have numbers. And whenever you see a number in a board game, that's your ally. You can assign so many different things to numbers. And we're going to look, we're going to check some examples so you can have ideas. Board games have social and cognitive benefits. They are interacting and they are learning at the same time. And the beauty of board games is that though some board games might be for practicing certain grammar structures, you want to focus more on the fluency than the accuracy, right? So you want to encourage your group of students to collaborate, but to try and talk and say things as they come, right? If they make mistakes, there's no problem. You are there to encourage them. And while they play a board game, they will realize that they need certain words. They need certain vocabulary, right? So sometimes what I do is instead of pre-teaching certain words, I listen, I know what I realize the things they need, and then I teach certain functional language. That because it's going to be useful. They're going to use it at that moment, right? And they can stimulate a small group work. We can make copies out of many things that we have. We can design certain corners, tables, in order to do group work, but it stimulates a small group. Board games might not be necessarily for large groups, like one board game for everybody, right? But you stimulate that the students work together, 2, 3, 4, as just a board game is designed so that it doesn't lose its purpose or its effectiveness. Now, if you have large groups of classes, you can definitely have certain copies or try to figure out some sort of system that they can be in groups, as small groups, and they can rotate, right? Good. These are some examples. Somebody was asking us for speaking games and collaboration. I think you're gonna like some of these ideas here. One of them is Jenga. Who hasn't played Jenga? Jenga is a board game that you can use to your benefit to include speaking activities in class. Let me show you first. As I said, numbers are your allies and sometimes colors too. Can you see here these pieces of Jenga? They are in different colors and they have names. Let me stop my screen so maybe you can see me better. Okay. Once again, I apologize. My image is breaking a lot, but you can see, right? You see? So you can get some colored Jengas with numbers like this. If you don't get colored Jengas, you can have the regular Jenga, but you can assign there some numbers. You can put some colors there, right? So how and why? How do you use this and for what reason? Let me show you a link. First, I'm gonna share it on the Zoom so everybody has access. And here we go. All right, so here, not only you will see Jenga, but you will also see some other resources that I would like to share with you this morning. But here, you can see this. This was an idea that we came up with another English teacher and say, okay, let's play Jenga, but let's do something fun about it. Let's include game-based learning with it. So you can see here, for example, in this document, the yellow has a category, personal information. Red, likes and dislikes, right? Green, free time and leisure. Light blue are challenges. Purple, future plans and goals. And pink, past events, right? This design was for the intermediate version, and it's just, you know, like to get us to talk, not necessarily like practice or learn, produce some structure in a specific, but you could definitely do that, right? So here, the limit is our creativity, and AI assistants can give you a lot of topics and questions to generate these sort of questions. In the same link I share, you also have a children's version, 1.2. And this has more, or it has simpler questions, right? They also challenge students, but they go more like name things, answer some questions, spelling, right? Or saying tongue twisters, right? To help on to help on fluency in the classroom. They can describe pictures, for example. They can do simple actions. Show me how you jump. Show me how you clap, right? So once again, the limit is our creativity and what we want to include here in this Jengas. Once again, let me see if my video works. Nice. So when the students have the tower, right? Just in case, probably somebody hasn't played, can assume, but probably somebody hasn't played Jenga. This is what Jenga looks like, right? And they will choose one of the pieces, and depending on the color and number, they will have to answer something that is on the sheet, right? Like this one's over here. Okay, very good. All right, so Jengas, oops, where is my presentation? Let me go back. Jenga is a great game that will help your group of students to get fluency, right? Have fluency when using certain structures. Once again, we can definitely establish certain specific grammar structures, and that definitely depends on us. Practice is another way in which you can create some speaking practice and production through board games. Let me show you also in the same link. We have Partisi, there are empty printables, and there is one also here to give you an example, a couple of them. Partisi looks like this, right? And the beauty of this is that you don't have to create the rules because the rules are already there. You can go to the internet, print a set of instructions, and have the students do some reading of the instructions when they play. Chances are some of them might know how to play it, but you can encourage some reading of the rules in the groups when doing that. You can play the version that it's the popular one, let's say, but you can also include activities, right? As you see there, let me lower my hand. As you can see here, I told you numbers are our allies. If you want to play a Partisi game, right? There are numbers. So assign something to the numbers. For instance, here, 1, describe your favorite movie in 3 sentences. Correct the sentence, he go to school every day. Name 5 fruit, and then, the possibility is endless. I got this from ChatGPT, and that's something you can do. You can ask AI to generate some challenges, correcting sentences, naming things, drawing, and then you decide, right? Because as we said, these things might be time consuming, but we can also rely on technology that we have nowadays so that it can gives us ideas. Let me see, very interesting, says Nancy, thank you. Here we also have, oh, sorry, this is the one that I showed you. And another idea that I got right there from internet, I think this was from Pinterest, helps to do some foodie ludo, some food vocabulary practice, right? And then you can have your students do creating sentences or the defining, or right, they have to name probably fruit, vegetables, drinks, etc. There are plenty of things on the internet. You don't have to create these things. As I said, I got this from the internet, but it's the idea. Another Partisi I have here is with the verbs, and these are ready to be printable. They have free access on the internet, and that's what I'm sharing them here. So you can have access to them and you can print them if you think they suit your learning objectives. And once again, what are some of the things you can do with the verbs here? What do you think? You tell me ideas through the chat. You have this board game in your classroom. There are verbs in each of the numbers. What would you have your students do? Let's see, use the chat. Green light, red light. I don't understand that, Carlos. Elaborate, please. Maria Fernanda says, create a sentence using the verbs. Tell the past participle. What else? Beautiful ideas. We can do irregular verbs. Identify, are these irregular verbs or regular verbs? Guess the words. Interesting. Which of those do you consider we could use with large groups of students? Carol, when you tell me which of those, are you referring to like either Partisi or Jenga? If it's any of the two answers, have copies. You have copies of this, you create groups, and then you give a printed copy for each group. Let's say you have a group of a classroom of 40 students. You create 10 groups, 4 students, and then you have them play. Everybody can read the instructions together, and they will listen to you because they will need the instructions if otherwise they will get lost and they don't want to lose the game. You check over the instructions together and then you monitor, but then you give some freedom to the students to do it like that. Mimics, I like that. Yes, including some kinesthetic ideas. Classify them regular, irregular. Awesome, Carol. I hope I answered your question. Make sure sentences with the verb. Reorder the sentences. Yes, you can have like a list of sentences on the board and then you have them reorder, or you have like also a printed document they can use, right? Throw a ball and within a minute, the one who has the ball got to say the present or past the present, past, and past participle. Very nice. While they play the parties. And scramble the sentences. So you see, you have all amazing ideas, great ideas. So here the purpose is to share like what is the power of board games. You can use these things in order to provoke a speaking and also grammar reinforcement, right? Another one is story cubes. Story cubes, I don't know if you have heard about them, if you have seen them. Let's say like oh, sorry, my video is not working anymore. Let's say the original ones are the Rory's story cubes. I don't know if anyone has heard about them. There are sets of story cubes one can purchase in order to do some speaking activities. The purpose would be to create stories, right? And to challenge the students to create stories when speaking. But if you have groups that might not feel that confident doing the story at that moment, you can have them write. You can have them write some stories with the images you have on the story cubes. Let me share also a digital link. Putting it on the chat. There you go. And these are not the original story cubes, let's say, because original story cubes are actually physical. Hopefully, yes, you can see me a little bit here. This is an example. Oh no, my computer is crashing. I'm so sorry. I didn't expect that, but anyway, I can show you. Well, we have turn it. Come on, that's story cubes. Story cubes, worries. Yeah, just for you to have an idea, like images. There you go. You see, these are story cubes. This is what they look like. And then you have, of course, the number of images per side of the cube. And then they throw them, and then they can create sentences. You can have them practice verbs. You can have them practice narratives, have to create a story, etc. And this is a digital version. You can always roll again, right? And then you will have a set of pictures, and you can have your students create stories, write stories, share an anecdote, invent something, create. You can do free writing, right? So once again, board games. And we might not have the board game right there with us, but we have a link and we can use. The purpose is the same. In the link that I sent, you also have DIY printable games. I don't know if maybe some people are working with children. Might be a little bit more suitable for children, but teenagers also like crafts. And here you have some templates. They can print, they can create their own cubes, right? And then you can have them do their cube in classes, or ask them to have the cube ready for next class. Here I have another one that it's a little bit bigger, right? And then you have, once again, these are free documents I found online. You can use. Excellent, very good. Is there a link for this cube making activities? You mean like the DIY, Oscar? Yes. I don't have a link per se, but I got these two ideas from Pinterest. So if you take a look at Pinterest, there's a lot of things teachers share there, resources, and you can get. So I don't have a link, but also if you Google Story Cubes DIY, you might get some ideas. I did some research and I share this a couple of documents here with you, but you can also find them there. Anytime, Oscar. Good. Let's go back here. So I classify them as speaking games, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the only possibility, right? We can adapt. How are we with time? I don't want to. We have 30 minutes. Okay, maybe I'm just gonna mention a couple of this very quickly. For vocabulary games, what I want to share are Etapel. Let's see, let's try. Is it working? Yes, this is Tapel. It's basically like a wheel with a lot of letters, right? And then you make a game and you have categories. Students need to pass the device around, and then they, according to the category, they need to say a word, right? If we don't have Tapel, then here, there's a printable alphabet. You just need an alphabet. Make a circle with the letters, and then you can do some vocabulary games with that. Another idea for vocabulary is dice. And here you can also explore in the link a lot of things that you can do with dice. For example, you only need either dice with you in the classroom or digital versions of dice, and then you can do something like this: a monster roll and draw, maybe a little bit more suitable for children, right? On the first roll, they get a body, eyes, mouth, ears, etc. You can use them for general vocabulary like this. Write the word with your eyes closed. If it's number 2, write the word with capital letters. If it's number 3, write the word with your other hand, you know. Another one is roll a story. You can create a story. You only need a couple of tasks. Or again, digital versions. Project these or share these as a printed copy, and then have students create a story. They roll, and you know, like there is this element of surprise. They don't know what they're gonna write about. Dice with nouns also. You can have them find certain things, some sort of like a scavenger hunt. Find 5 things that are green, or list 10 things that can be found in a kitchen. Find 5 things that people can drink, etc., etc., etc. Once again, I didn't make this dice documents I'm sharing with you. They are on the internet, and these are possibilities we can definitely use. All in all, board games are multi-purpose. They can be used for descriptions, for narratives, stories, speaking, listening, for writing. Adaptation is the key. Whatever board game you're gonna use, you can definitely adapt that. And that just as with the Tapel I show you, there are either digital versions like Story Cubes, or you can customize your own. So my advice is watch out for board games. You have board games at home and they have numbers or colors. There are endless possibilities. Or simply pay a visit to a toy store and then see what is there. Do some research, check what are they doing with board games, and then how can you adapt them for your English lesson. Okay, I don't think we have time to do, I was planning to do a virtual Jenga, but I can share with you, let me stop here for a second because we're gonna do this before. I can share with you the link of the digital Jenga. It's not the same, but my purpose here is that if there is a board game, like a physical board game or a hard copy of a board game, it's definitely version. We have been discussing a lot of concepts, a lot of ideas. So now Vero and I want to challenge you to answer some questions. And we're gonna use GameKit to do these questions challenging. Let me stop my screen for a second and show you a link. I'm the wait for the Padlet so I can set the game. There you go. Continue. Okay. I want. Okay, so space bar, and if you're in the cell phone, you will an icon to jump, right? Can you observe? Let me make it more visual. Can you observe right here? There is like an energy bar, let's say, right? It's going to get lower as I try to jump. My objective is to climb, right? So you can play around and you're out of energy and it won't work. I'm pressing right now my arrows, but it doesn't work because I am out of energy. So to have energy to keep on climbing, because that's my objective, I have to answer questions. And here, right here, is where you answer the questions. This is, of course, the computer, the computer structure or format, but you will also see it on the cell phone. So click on answer questions, and then some sort of questions will appear of everything Veronica and I have been sharing today. For example, if students play Jenga with discussion prompts on each block, what is this an example of? Gamification, a serious game, game-based learning, or traditional teaching? What do you think?
Could be a serious game.
Serious game? Okay, let's try. No, it's not a serious game because the purpose was not to actually have or to learn something with Jenga. Jenga is not the first design, right? The answer there you can analyze later. So as you answer correctly these questions, you will have energy, right? And then you will be able to climb up a little bit more. Yep. So no more modeling. Let me end this game. And something very, very cool about GameKit is that it's like a virtual reality. Everybody will be able to see their classmates there. And they can play, have fun while they answer some questions. Here's the QR code. And this is also the code. You need to go to gamekit.com/join and enter that code or scan the QR code, please. Maybe Vero, do you think you could type into your browser gamekit.com/join and share the link just in case? There you go. So I have one player, two players. There you go. Jorge is here and I don't see the other person's name. I think it was Kathy. You can start. Yes, Kathy. You can start moving. So start exploring. We're gonna give, you cannot scan. Yes, it is. Veronica just shared the link, so you can click on the link and then enter the code. And you can start playing around with the commands. So you can jump, move around, know how it works. It's okay, Carlos, thank you. Maybe next time you can try with a cell phone if it's possible. Okay, I can see Karen there. The code is 392451. It's on the screen. 392451. I'm also sending through the chat. Got it. Let's wait 20 more seconds and then we start. And then if you couldn't join at first, you can join late, so no worries. You can still see the code and join. There you go. Oh, hello, hello. Uy, my name is different. I'm teacher Javier. Okay, hello, hello. Welcome, Ervin. Hello, Melissa. Hi, Sandra. David Molina. Hey, Janet. Sandra is escaping. Okay, there we go. Thank you. I think 20 seconds have passed. Let's start the game and then you can play. If you are joining late, you can use here the code. Okay, go, go, go. Remember, the objective is to climb up. And when you can't, it's because you're out of energy and you need to answer questions to get energy. We're gonna play this for 5 minutes. Go ahead, go ahead. If there are people who can play, right? So you're gonna play with me. Let me see. Thank you. Okay, there you go. So try to climb back. Double jump, double space bar. There you go. I have 300 of energy. I'm gonna run out. Okay. So if you are not playing, you can play with me and answer these questions. What is the key benefit of gamification in language learning? What do you think? So once again, I'm playing this only for people who for any reason can't access, but if you're doing it on your own, just continue. Maybe a lot of people are playing. But I'm going to test you. You know the answer. You were talking about this. What's the answer? The benefit of gamification in language learning. Oh, I think I have a message. It enhances engagement and motivation. So I have energy, right? And I can close it and continue playing until I run out of energy. Keep climbing up. Just keep on climbing up until you run out of energy and I fail. So now we need to answer another question. Let's see, help me, Carlos and Carol, that I see you are here with me. Which of the following is not a characteristic of a game, according to Shell 28? 2008. Which one is not a characteristic of a game? Gotcha. Where are you? Always requires technology. Perfect. Maybe we can answer one more question so we have more energy. What is a key benefit of using a deck of cards in language learning activities? So Jessica, we definitely need to follow rules when we play a game. That's one of the characteristics. Because games without rules tend to become chaotic. So the answer here. Key benefit. Encourages speaking, listening, and following instructions. Beautiful. Excellent. Okay, so I think I'm gonna stop now. Let's end the game. Game's over, everybody. Come back to the lobby. And then you can see you have some metrics with your students, right? First, Majo, congratulations. You are the winner of the game. We had, look at this. We had 111 questions answered correctly. And we had 81 questions answered incorrectly. You can also see here the metrics, etc., right? So who we're playing, etc., etc. It was fun. I'm glad, Mercedes. Yes, that's the idea. Use these with your students. It's beautiful. And not only climbing up is one of the games you have in GameKit, you have more. There are free versions and there are paid versions. It's up to you to choose one of them. We've checked some concept checking, and now it's time to...
It's time to share. Before we close, we'd like to invite everybody to scan the code that you see on screen. It's a Padlet. It already has some activities that we mentioned today, like the story cubes, using a deck of cards, and it also has other options, other games that we've used in the classroom. So we want to invite everybody to scan the code and share the best ideas of games that you've used in your classroom. Remember that sometimes we get our best activity from each other. So please scan the code and include just a short description of the tool or game, whether it's game-based learning or gamification or serious game, and a quick example of how you use it with your students. So for example, if I do word wall, I would say it's gamification and I use it to review vocabulary, and I give points to the leader depending on the leaderboard positions, and I include the link. So if everybody can, I don't know, Andrea, if you have the Padlet open to see if what people are sharing.
I don't yet, but give me a second. I was getting the link so I can also share it here. Give me a second. Okay, I'm putting it also on the chat just in case you were not able to scan the code. And here we go. Okay, this is what we are doing now to wrap up sharing.
Okay, as people share in the Padlet, we hope we answered some of your concerns that you mentioned at the beginning. And we hope that these activities that we shared were useful for you and will apply them in your class. And we can't wait to see what you share with us in the Padlet too. So we learn from you too. Andrea, would you like to say something?
Yes, thank you very much. I've personally had a blast this morning, sharing, listening to you. And I hope that this was useful for you. It gave you ideas, and not only had, like specific ideas shared with the links and everything, but it awakened your curiosity, own benefit as teachers and also for your classes. So thank you so much for this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Berito. Thank you very much, Berito and Andrea. It was a pleasure to have both of you here presenting. Thank you very much again. It was an amazing presentation. We received a lot of good comments from everyone. So please, for everyone else, don't forget to follow us in our Instagram account, in the ECUATESOL website, in the ECUATESOL network, so you can join there. I hope that you register your attendance, everyone, in the link that we share in the chat. And thanks again, Berito. Thank Andrea for sharing this. You are an amazing professors, and I hope that these teaching tips that you gave us today is about gamification we can put in practice in our classes. So thanks again. Thank you very much, and have an amazing and lovely day. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Good job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.